This morning on Today's Health, dangerous drug combinations, with Americans on average taking more than 5 medications or dietary supplements each day. The risk of an adverse reaction or even accidental overdose are something every family needs to be aware of. And here to talk about what to watch out for is Women's Health Magazine contributor Dr. Keri Peterson. Dr. Keri, good morning.
Good morning, Amy.
And obviously it's common sense to read your labels, talk to your doctor about potential interactions, but there are some general guidelines that you should follow when you take medications. What are they?
Yes, the first would be, when it comes to drug interactions, try to get your prescriptions filled at the same pharmacy. That way, when the pharmacist enters in the new medication, they have a system that flags it if there's a worrisome drug interaction. And also, once you get the bottle, keep your drugs in that original bottle, because the pharmacist is going to put labels on there to inform you of anything worrisome. And then finally, keep a list of everything you take. The over-the-counter medications, the herbal supplements, and the drugs that you take. That way you have it in your wallet handy to give in the emergency room, God forbid, or to your own doctor.
And most people know you shouldn't take alcohol with a lot of prescription drugs, but something interesting, there are some potential interactions or adverse reactions when you mix grapefruit juice and or chocolate. Explain that to me.
All these people about to have grapefruits are looking up right now. Yeah.
Oh no.
Grapefruit juice or grapefruits have many drug interactions. There's a chemical in grapefruits that interferes with the enzyme that breaks down a lot of drugs. And there's about 50 or so drugs. I'm going to just mention a few common ones. One of them is the statins, which are used to lower cholesterol. Zocor is one of those. Benzodiazepines like Valium or Xanax are another class. And finally, some blood pressure medications like calcium channel blockers. But you should really check the full list if you eat grapefruit. And you mentioned chocolate.
Chocolate, yes.
Chocolate also has some drug interactions. So first, if you take stimulants, if you have ADD and you take Ritalin or methylphenidate, and you take chocolate, it's going to enhance the stimulant effect, which can be very dangerous. Also, if you take sleeping pills like Ambien, it can prevent them from working, so you take the chocolate and you stay up all night. And then finally, if you have depression and you take a class of drugs called MAO inhibitors, it can cause a dangerous rise in your blood pressure, so beware.
Wow, I've never heard of that before. All right, let's talk about antidepressants, because this is another interesting combination that I wasn't aware of. These are the most prescribed drugs in the country, and they don't mix well with antihistamines or migraine medications like Imitrex.
That's correct. So first, this is fall allergy season. A lot of people are taking antihistamines. You pop it in the morning before you go to work, but if you're on an antidepressant, it can cause sedating effects. It can impair your concentration and your alertness. If you now go and get into your car, that can be a very worrisome situation.
And what about the migraine medication?
So for migraines, depression and migraines actually often coexist in the same person, and the SSRIs are the most common antidepressant, and the most common migraine medication are the triptans like Imitrex. Both of those cause an elevation in serotonin, and if you have unusually high levels of serotonin, that can cause some dangerous side effects.
So what should you do if you are in need to take both medications?
If you're taking the triptan in moderation, the incidence of this serotonin syndrome is only 0.02%, so you can get away with it, but you need to know the side effects. Talk to your doctor, just to list a few: palpitations, nausea, and loss of coordination.
All right, birth control pills, also a very popular pill. We've all heard that if you take antibiotics, it can lessen the effects of the antibiotics, but there are some other drugs you should avoid as well, correct?
There are. Well, first, if you have a seizure disorder and you take phenobarbital or phenytoin, it can completely reverse the effects of the birth control, leading to pregnancy, because it breaks down the estrogen. And you mentioned the antibiotics. There's sort of a... Women have heard for years that antibiotics can prevent birth control from working effectively. But really, there are no long-term large studies that demonstrate this, other than for the antibiotic rifampin. And rifampin is used to treat tuberculosis. It's rarely used. So this can be taken with a grain of salt, but I think that doctors are still just too afraid to say, don't worry.
Right, exactly. And quickly, blood thinners. It seems like you have to be careful with everything when you're on those.
Yes, warfarin is the most common blood thinner. I'm sure everyone knows someone taking it, and they interact with a ton of things, making the bloods too thin, leading to a risk of bleeding. To list a few, painkillers like aspirin, Motrin, ibuprofen can interact with it. Certain cholesterol-lowering drugs like the fibrates can really put you at risk. And in addition, certain antioxidants, like if you take fish oil, very commonly taken with warfarin, that can make the blood too thin. And then on the other hand, there are certain foods that can reverse the effects of humanin causing blood clots. Anything containing vitamin K, like green tea. People may not realize green tea has vitamin K, can cause blood clots.
So obviously the word to the wise here, be very careful, know what you're eating, know what you're taking, and make sure it all works together.
That's
Dr.
right.
Keri Peterson, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Lot to ingest there.